My mother-in-law said I must have cheated because we're expecting a girl, and when I was 8 months pregnant, she put her hands on me. No girl had been born in the Aldrich family for over 117 years. The slap came so fast I didn't even see her arm move. I staggered back, holding my belly, as Eleanor Aldrich stood over me in her perfectly staged living room, hands still raised, eyes burning with rage. The crystal flute I'd been holding slipped from my fingers and exploded across the marble floor. 30 relatives fell silent, not a breath, not a whisper. "You filthy liar," she hissed, loud enough for all of them to hear. 8 months pregnant, with another man's child, a girl? Do you think we're stupid? Aldrich men do not produce daughters. So tell us, Lydia, whose baby are you really carrying? Her voice dripped venom. I instinctively pressed my hands to my stomach, feeling my daughter twist beneath my skin. But instead of crying, instead of breaking, I smiled. Eleanor's eyes narrowed instantly. Slowly, I reached into my handbag and placed a sealed white envelope on the antique coffee table. "When you open that," I said calmly, "you'll understand everything." What Eleanor didn't know was that I'd been preparing for this moment for months. I'd recorded every cruel comment, saved every message, documented every attempt she made to force me to sign family protection papers. I even discovered she'd decontacted 3 different attorneys about challenging paternity before my child was even born. I had cameras, I had journals, and yes, I had already done genetic testing. But the real bombshell was something else I discovered while looking into the Aldrich family tree. My husband, Ethan, stood frozen near the fireplace, pale and trembling. He had watched his mother strike me, watched her accuse me of adultery, and he said absolutely nothing. His brother, Mason, hid a smirk behind his glass. Ethan's father, Victor Aldrich, merely poured himself another drink, as if domestic assault were part of the evening program. Eleanor lunged for the envelope, ripped it open, and scoffed. "A genetics lab appointment? Tomorrow? You think a paternity test will save you?" "Not quite," I said softly. "I think you should bring your husband too. And Mason. Actually, bring every Aldrich man who wants answers." My eyes locked on Victor. "Especially you." A flicker of panic crossed his face. Eleanor's smile collapsed. "You're bluffing," she whispered. "Am I?" I tilted my head. "Did you know modern DNA testing can do more than determine paternity? It reveals heritage, mutations, and whether siblings actually share the same father." The room went dead still. Mason's smirk dissolved. Eleanor's face turned ghost white. Victor's hand shook around his glass. "What exactly are you suggesting?" She breathed. "I'm not suggesting anything," I said. "Tomorrow at 10, we'll simply learn the truth." I picked up my coat. "Oh, Eleanor?" She looked up, trembling. "I already filed a police report for the assault. My lawyer has the photos I took 30 minutes ago. The bruising is very clear." I walked out as the perfect Aldrich world began to crumble behind me. Ethan chased me down the driveway. "Lydia, wait. What is happening?" I stepped back. "Your mother assaulted your pregnant wife. Called our daughter a bastard in front of your entire family. And you stood there like furniture." My voice broke, but not from fear. "Ethan, I'm done protecting Aldrich family secrets." Ethan grabbed my arm, desperation shaking in his voice. "Lydia, please, you don't understand. My mother and my family, we handle things privately." I looked at him. Really looked. "Your mother assaulted me, Ethan, and you stayed silent. Privately is how abusers survive." Thunder cracked in the distance, almost on cue. For a moment, we both stood in the cold night air, the mansion glowing behind us like a burning lie. He swallowed. "Just cancel the test tomorrow. We'll figure something out." "No," I said. "I'm done figuring things out alone," and then the front door burst open. Eleanor stumbled outside, clutching the envelope and shaking hands. "Lydia!" She screamed, her voice ragged. "You don't know what you're doing. You'll destroy this family." Behind her, Victor stood in the doorway, face drained of all color, and for once, no Scotch glass in sight. I turned slowly. "That's the point." Eleanor stepped forward, desperate. "If you expose these tests, you'll ruin everything Victor built, our reputation, our legacy, our entire bloodline." "That bloodline," I cut in, "is exactly what I'm questioning." Victor flinched. Eleanor's mask finally cracked. Her voice shook. "You don't understand. If this comes out, everyone will know the truth about Mason, about Ethan, about Eleanor. Victor barked sharply, but it was too late. The truth was seconds from slipping out of her own mouth. I held her gaze. "Oh, I understand more than you think," I said. "Especially after I found your hospital records, Eleanor. The fertility treatments, the donor files, all the documents you tried to hide." Her breath caught. Victor stumbled back as if struck. You found those?" she whispered. "I found everything. And tomorrow, so will the rest of you." Eleanor's knees buckled. She dropped to the steps, shaking. The envelope fluttered out of her hand and onto the driveway. Victor finally spoke, his voice trembling with years of secrets. "Lydia, if those tests are done, they'll prove none of the boys are biologically mine." Silence swallowed the night. Ethan staggered backward. Mason's face appeared in the doorway behind Victor, twisted in shock. The entire Aldrich dynasty, the legacy they worshipped, was about to collapse under its own lies. I took a slow breath, resting a hand on my belly. "My daughter," I said softly, "will be born into truth. Not into a family built on secrets, violence, and fear." I opened the car door. "And if that destroys the Aldrich name, then it was never worth saving." I drove away as the mansion behind me erupted. Eleanor sobbing, Victor shouting, Mason swearing, their perfect world shattering like the crystal glass I dropped hours earlier. I didn't look back. For the first time in years, I didn't need to. The further I drove from the Aldrich estate, the harder the rain slammed the windshield, as if the sky itself were breaking open with the truth they had buried for decades. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel, but it wasn't from fear. It was from release. From the weight I hadn't even realized I'd been carrying for years, finally shifting off my shoulders. But power has a strange way of making silence louder. And the silence in that car, it felt like a warning. By the time I pulled into the small guest house I'd been renting in secret, a little safe place, Eleanor knew nothing about thunder cracked violently right above me. The storm had completely swallowed the road. The house looked so small, fragile, but it felt safe enough for one night. I locked the door behind me, the click echoing in the quiet, and still, I didn't feel alone. My daughter twisted again. A sharp, urgent kick that almost doubled me over. "Easy, sweetheart," I whispered, pressing a hand to my belly. "Everything's going to be okay. I promise." I had no idea if it was true. But mothers lie to protect their children long before they're even born. The power flickered once, then twice, and then it died. The entire house went pitch black. My phone buzzed instantly. Unknown number. I hesitated for a long moment before answering. "Lydia." The voice froze the very breath in my lungs. "Victor, are you safe?" he asked, his voice quiet. "Why do you care?" I snapped. "You've ignored your wife and sons for years, and suddenly tonight you want to play protector?" A long, heavy pause. "You have no idea what you've stirred up." Lightning cracked outside, illuminating the window for a split second. And in that flash I saw something, a silhouette standing near the tree line, watching, listening, then darkness swallowed it again. "What asterisk I stirred up?" I hissed into the phone. "Your wife assaulted me. Your family humiliated me. Your sons. This isn't about them," he cut in sharply. "It's about the consequences, Lydia, and you don't know the half of them." The line clicked dead. I stared at the dark screen, my heart pounding in my chest. But it wasn't from fear. It was from suspicion. Victor wasn't warning me. Victor was afraid. I found one of the candles I kept in the kitchen and lit it. The flame flickered, casting long, dancing shadows on the walls. I moved slowly through the house, checking the doors, the windows, the dark corners. The dark can hold so many things. Secrets, regret, and sometimes, people. The storm raged outside, but inside it was too quiet. The kind of quiet that presses against your skin, that makes the hairs on your arms stand up. I leaned against the kitchen counter, just trying to steady my breath. That's when I heard it. A soft, deliberate knock. Once, then twice. It wasn't frantic. Not desperate. It was slow, measured. The knock of someone who knew exactly where I was. Someone who wasn't afraid of the dark. My heart was thundering against my ribs as I moved to the peephole. My breath caught in my throat. Standing on the porch soaked to the bone, shaking, his eyes red, was Ethan. But something was wrong, terribly wrong. His face wasn't just pale, it was gray. As if he'd just seen something he could never unsee. I opened the door just an inch, keeping the chain lock firmly in place. "What are you doing here?" I demanded. He stared at me with this hollow kind of fear I'd never seen in him before. Lydia, his voice cracked. Someone broke into the house after you left. I stiffened. Who? He just shook his head, rain dripping from his hair onto the porch. We don't know, but they went straight to the study. To the safe. The safe. The one Eleanor guarded like a dragon guards its treasure. The safe where Victor kept all of his sealed documents. The safe that no one, not even Ethan, had ever been allowed to touch. And? I pushed. Ethan swallowed hard. The only thing missing is your medical folder. My heart just stopped. My medical folder? Why would anyone? There's more, Ethan whispered, his voice trembling. When Mason confronted Mom about it, she snapped. He stepped closer to the door. She said you're going to destroy this family before the baby is even born. Then she said something that didn't make any sense. What? She said... His voice dropped to a terrified whisper. If she finds out who the real father is, we're all finished. The words punched the air right out of my lungs. Lightning split the dark sky behind him, framing his terrified face. Ethan, I said slowly, what did she mean by the real father? Are you saying? I don't know, he cried, his voice breaking. My mother is completely unraveling. My father is drinking himself sick. Mason is threatening to kill someone. And now, he stopped abruptly. His eyes widened, looking past me. Over my shoulder into the dark house. Lydia, he breathed. Who else is in the house? My blood turned to ice. I'm alone. No, he whispered, backing away from the door. No, you're not. A floorboard creaked behind me, slow, heavy, intentional. My pulse was hammering violently against my throat. I turned, lifting the candle higher. Who's there? Silence. Then another creak. This time closer, my breath trembled. I could feel the presence before I saw anything. Something warm. Something watching me. The candle flame flickered wildly, dancing as if in a breeze that wasn't there. A voice, soft, hoarse, familiar, yet completely wrong, echoed from the darkness. Lydia, we need to talk. My heart stopped. The figure stepped forward into the dim glow of the candlelight, and I dropped the candle. The flame died instantly, but not before I saw the face. Not Eleanor, not Victor. Not Mason, not even Ethan. It was someone who had no reason to be here. Someone who had been silent the entire night. Someone whose eyes carried a truth that could tear the entire Aldridge world apart. He whispered my name again from the complete darkness. Lydia. Then everything went black. If you're new here and this story has your heart absolutely pounding, you need to hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss what happens next. Seriously. And before I drop part 2, I need to know how many of you are actually ready for it. So do me a favor, comment part 2 down below, like this video, and tap that subscribe button so you don't miss the next chapter.